Is it good or bad for a relationship to have a fight from time to time?
Oh, it's a must. I think relationships follow a cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair.
Because you have couples that sort of bickering just all the time. Would you say the same
Bickering
mechanics?
is chronic, low-intensity warfare.
Damn!
Is it good or bad for a relationship to have a fight from time to time?
Oh, it's a must. It's obligatory.
Every day.
But even if it's every day, the question is not so much the fighting. The question is really the repair. I think relationships follow a cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair.
Sometimes the people, they bring up the same old things when they fight.
Right.
It's the same old topics.
Yeah. When people fight about the same stuff, what they're fighting about is not the towel or the bathroom or who takes care of what or who takes the children every day or who is always late. What they're fighting about are actually three key groups of themes that are underneath those plot lines, which is power and control, closeness and care, and respect and recognition.
So do we tend to fight early in the relationship or late in the relationship?
Look, some people come with a history where we learned to fight, we learned to argue, we learned to defend ourselves, we learned certain ways for asking for what we want, or we learned certain way never to ask for what we want, but to criticize the other for doing it when you can't do it yourself. And we come with those schoolings of our relationships that usually we learned in our own homes by watching our parents with each other and with us. Some people are maximizers, they explode. Some people are minimizers, they implode. They keep it in, they wait, and then they explode, you know, like... And over something that has nothing to do with the thing they're actually annoyed about. But this is the right moment. The more one person goes up, the more the very person that goes up is actually making the other person go numb. And the more the person shuts down, the more it actually activates this one to go higher and higher. Each person is actually contributing to the extreme version that the other person becomes.
What about bickering? Because you have couples that are sort of bickering just all the time. Is that the same, would you say, the same mechanics?
I would say bickering is chronic, low-intensity warfare, in which I am picking and I'm critical all the time. And instead of saying, I would like a cup of water, I say, why did you take a cup for yourself? And I am not telling you what I wish, because behind every criticism is a wish. And I'm just going at it and making you feel down, low, contemptuous. I also, when I talk about the cup, I remind you of the shoes and of the friend you didn't call back and of what your mother told me 17 years ago. And I do what is called kitchen sinking, meaning I pile up all the dirty dishes in the sink at the same time so that at the end we have no idea what we're actually fighting about.
I see, and when you start to clean, it's like a big job.
Yes, yes, you can't clean the dishes when you've got all the dishes in the sink at the same time. So you do kitchen sinking, you do chronic picking, the bickering. You also have two wonderful things. One is called confirmation bias, which is that now that I've decided that you really are a slob and you don't care about whatever I ask you, I look for it. I look for it. It's like a radar that is looking to confirm the bias that I have. If I believe you don't care, if I believe this doesn't matter, I scan it. And I disregard evidence that proves the opposite. The one time that, and if you say, but I did it yesterday, I said, that's just yesterday, that's one time, that doesn't count because look, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And you know, the whole scoreboard arrives. And the next thing I do is what we call fundamental attribution error, which is that if I am late, it's because there was traffic.
Yeah.
If you are late, it's because you are a total disorganized slob. Meaning,
so it's about my whole character.
Yes, mine is circumstance, yours is character alone. If I'm in a bad mood, it's because I had a bad day.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad mood, it's because you're a cranky human being.
I heard something in your podcast. You mentioned that you don't have to agree with them, but you have to give them the sort of acknowledge that they have the right to have that opinion. That you have to respect their opinion in a way.
So it's kind of the question of can people fight better, right? Is there a way that you can minimize some of the escalation? Basically, a bad fight is a negative escalation. How do you turn, and a negative escalation follows a very classic pattern: attack, blame, defend. How do you turn that around so that people can actually hear each other? Because behind anger, there is often hurt. Behind criticism, there is something you want to. There's an unmet longing, a wish, a need, etc. One of the first things is this thing about not being right is, can you imagine that there is this person that is so close to you that actually has a completely different experience of what just happened? And that's very challenging in a relationship, because if I feel this way, you must have done this. Otherwise, why am I feeling it? It cannot be that I feel so neglected and that you were being really warm. So the next thing that is, of course, the most difficult thing to do is to talk about what you feel versus talk about what the other person did or did not do. You know, it's a way of saying, I can hear you and still disagree with you, versus if I hear you, then it means that I agree with you. And when you are in conflict situations, we have the ability to listen to 10 seconds. And 10 seconds is 3 sentences before in our head we've stopped listening and we are preparing the rebuttal. It's very short how much people can actually stay in a conversation when the tension is mounting. And what you want is to turn it around so that people don't feel attacked. They can pay attention, they can, turn it into a little bit of from conflict to empathy, if you want, and then validate it and still say, I don't think I've done this, but I can see that that's how you would experience it, that's how you would see it, that's how you feel it, that kind of thing. And that fundamental shift from a negative escalation to a reflective listening, from reacting to reflecting, is really where you turn the whole thing around.
What is a good way to end the fight?
There's different things. You know what? I don't think at this moment I'm doing justice to this conversation. I'm gonna go cool off and we'll come back. You know what? I get so angry in those situations. Let me go and just chill for a second, because otherwise I'm gonna regret what I'm gonna say, and I don't wanna do that. And then you need to not follow me around the house. You need to let me go and trust that I will come back. The person who leaves has the right to go, but they have to be the one to come back. 2, you know what? Apology is really important. When I did this yesterday, I was out of line. I was angry, I wanted to shoot, I wanted to hurt, I felt attacked, and I really regret this, and I'm really sorry. That goes a long way too. 3, letter writing. I've done a lot of letter writing with people, because when you're alone and when you sit with yourself and you write to someone, and when I receive it and I read it, you hear people completely differently. So sometimes it's go and just say, when I fought yesterday, it brought back something for me that has nothing to do with you actually. It brought back the time when I felt that I was always being kicked by my brother and that I had no place in this house, and you just made me feel small like that. And I got in touch with that. And when that beast hits me, I am ready to kill. And I just wanted you to know that. That's, variations of letter writing with accountability. What is accountability? It's your ability to take responsibility for what you did without being mired by shame. Responsibility is a relational conscience, so is guilt. Shame is, I feel so bad that I want to go hide and I don't want to talk about it, and so the next day we pretend like nothing happened. But it sits there. I just don't want you to remind me. You know how bad I feel about myself, not about what I did to you. And that's the thing in a fight, is that people often feel terrible about themselves afterwards. They don't like it. They don't like what comes out of them. They don't like how they behave. They don't like the face that they can have, even if it's a quiet face, a seething face. 3 days. 3 days I'll walk around like this. And let's, and make you plead with me. When you can just say, I don't like this about me. So why is that so crucial? Because what is the fundamental definition of self-esteem? Is your ability to see yourself as a flawed person and still hold yourself in high regard.